The story takes place in the year 2819 AD, on future Earth. On future Earth there was a problem that the future inhabitants had to solve in order to save their planet. The people of that timeline had developed a very peaceful and highly advanced society. This society consisted of music culture and an advanced science. It was a utopia as we today would call it. What was the problem? In the process of developing this advanced system of society they had overlooked something. This something eventually would result in the end of the world. To tell you what happened we would have to go back a bit further into the past. As there is a saying on Earth today, the end justifies the means. This is not without a more profound meaning to this misadventure. A prime example of that being the old Earth, as you would call it present day. In the year 2000-something, I dare not share the exact date for fear of influencing the natural flow of time, there was a civil war. The war was between those who were in power and the citizens of the Earth. You can only imagine how this would play out, but you would be wrong. The world of that timeline started to have what you might call it a World War III. Chaos as the people attacked their nation's capitals and taking captive the leaders of the world. Blindly they grabbed people and accused them of making the country a shithole of a place to live in. I say blindly because, as you know, they are only the people given that position, but the real man behind the mask is safe inside his little hiding place. Don't get me wrong, not all of us shared the same one-sided view. Some were doctors, nurses, teachers, educated people. Some of the people of that time were brainwashed. It is like a kid who watches television and believed everything on there was true. They needed someone to blame, so they started the war with the governments. Through a worldwide broadcast they formed their group secretly. This group didn't know that in the year 2377 AD, on that exact day, of upraising a series of phenomena was destined to occur. At that time the sun was setting at 3 p.m. due to Earth changes. Right when the clock hit 3 p.m. a series of wormholes and time dilations pops up on the battlefields, and out come spacemen, and they were not alone. Large aliens no taller than a school bus pops out of the time hole right after the spacemen. The Earth humans stopped fighting, and so frightened they all ran bumping into one another, jumping, kicking, screaming for dear life. In the midst of it all were these spacemen shooting and fighting them with their modern weapons. It was like David and Goliath, but Goliath was a 10-foot-tall alien beast. By this time the end justifies the means just went out the window. At the end of the battle the human spacemen revealed themselves, but they did not say much. They were bred to be soldiers and bred to fight these aliens. They stood 7 feet tall and had muscular bodies. There were 10 left standing by the end of the battle. They quickly ordered all of the humans to get off the battlefield. Then, scared out of his mind, a boy runs to his mother, trips, falls, and a piece of the alien matter gets into his eyes and face. One of the soldiers keeps the mother from running to her child. The leader of the spacemen yells out loudly like a great lion's roar, "Look! Look closely, and learn. This alien is hard to defeat, because it has a genetic trait. It feeds on almost any life forms, and even on some rare occasions material matter." The child starts to grow like a plant, and in the street lights they can see black and green dart dropping, shedding, morphing into a giant creature. A loud pop of a beam gun shoots off, bang. "Tommy!" The mother cries out for her son. They quickly clear the area, and you can hear the mother's cry fading in the background, while she was being carried away by one of the soldiers. Quickly put up the containment fields around the dark matter. That's what they called it, dark matter. From what they can tell, it had no source, but somehow it followed them to Earth through the wormhole. Little did the humans know that later they would be citizens under the leadership of the spacemen. Time would pass and the future human spacemen would share a great deal of knowledge and order of things. The great IAM system. The future spacemen had lost their engineer in the battle, so they too could not exactly explain the technology of the future in such detail. They only knew what they remembered in training, easy to understand pictures and symbols describing the principal nature of the universe. They explained to the present-day scientists and engineers about a system called the IAM system, short for Internal Alternating Magnetism System. A unique system that once it achieves self-sustainability, it generates power forever through a principle of resonance tuning. It took the past scientists years to develop this technology because it was only a concept. Then about 2413 AD they had achieved it. Right when they did, a rift in space-time had opened up and the spacemen were gone just like the time they had came. Before leaving future present-day Earth they left one of their weapons behind. Being clever enough to create an IEM system, they reverse-engineered the X-beam. The X-beam was the gun that the leader had fired off when they had first arrived on Earth. They would secretly install them around the cities of the Earth as a defense system for future alien attacks. What the future present-day Earth people did not know was that the result of the spacemen and the aliens was caused by a strange phenomenon called the rift. The rift is like a leak in a pipe called space-time, and instead of just falling out of time, it fell infinitely into other timelines. Sometimes it can be weeks, sometimes it can take seconds to a year, and this factor all depends on the law of cause and effect. This statement refers to the time that the spacemen can exist in any given timeline. Sometimes they only exist in an alternate reality for only a flash. The cause that brought them to the Earth timeline on that exact day was a series of events all happening at the same time. The very act of conflict brought them through that gate in time. When there is a mass of people fighting and warring, there is a gate opened leading to an alternate timeline. The year 2679 AD, by now the future humans have established a free society based on the principles of the founding fathers, the spacemen. There was no doubt about anything in terms of what they had taught them, because they had come from the future. They had 10 cities, each city self-sustained by the IAM system, so they had free energy. By this time there were only one high power, and it was the people that had proper knowledge of running the city. Those people did not enforce power and dominance over the citizens because they believed in peace and the order of things. The people lived free. Technology had freed up many aspects of living for the future humans. They had a system that generated enough food for the set population. They had advanced systems of electricity and running water. Technologically everything was perfect, so naturally things were peaceful, and they did not desire wars. The system was perfect, but there was a flaw in the system. They decided to have population control as one of their laws because the system only allowed a certain amount of people for sustainability. Naturally, some people disagreed with this law, so they established their own colonies outside the city limits. They were told that if they left, they were no longer under the protection of the city, and that they can never come back.